I know I am honored to be a part of your tribe. And Mike, I had the privilege of reading Rose Hips in June. And, is it the same for you? Did you find a new community? Did you have mentors that kind of walked you through all of this?
Well, mentors, when I thought about this, literally, I've got them uh, listed or acknowledged in the book. Um, a guy named Lieutenant Colonel Ted Metaxas, um, Major General Garrison, um, were definitely mentors in the military, but they were preceded, I think, by a prior enlisted captain who was my company commander named Parker. I'll just say Captain Parker. I won't say his name. Uh, who told me if you're gonna be stupid, you got to be tough. And I'm telling you, those words have carried me through all of life. I truly believe that. Transitioning to civilian life, um, I eventually had a boss who was a prior military colonel, uh, um, a radio guy, what do you call it, signal, and just making that transition from military to the civilian sector, like you said, was quite difficult. Um, and that was quite a change for me and anybody who does it. And then once I retired and started writing, I'll tell you, I mean, Steve has probably, whether he knows it or not, provided me quite a bit of uh, inspiration, perhaps, guidance in some ways in these collaborations and such. And there's another author. Um, where is he? Let me hold a second. He's actually on the inside cover of the book somewhere, I think.
Oh, he's breaking out the glasses. It's getting
Yeah,
serious.
yeah. I mean, I can't see without him. It's not this. Um, who also had read the books. In fact, I gave him the first draft of Rose Hips in June, um, and he had read a couple of the previous books, and he had always just been crapping all over me. You need more dialogue, need this, need that. So I'd say my mentorship as a writer has been sparse. I mean, as far as reaching out to, it's very, very few. But I would say included in that list would be Tolkien. Um, was it Frank Herbert? Funny enough, I read Dune after Steve had mentioned it in one of his reviews. He said, "Yeah, this Warlock guy reminds me of the Bene Gesserit in Dune." And a friend of mine in high school had read the book, and I was like, maybe I should read this stupid thing, called yay thick. And I noticed, wow, this guy can write, a Tolkien kind of thing applied to science fiction or whatever. Um, so I have found mentorship in other writers, just reading their stuff. Stephen King is another big one. So that's where I have found mentorship. The rest of it is just, uh, without any doubt, the first book that I wrote and the last book that I wrote. I mean, there's a whole range of skill between book one and book seven. So I guess that means I possibly learned something along the way of that journey.
I would say that is a fair assumption because inevitably, no matter what happens, we learn from it, especially if you get kicked in the teeth first.
Yeah.
But you both have a good body of work now. So what's next? And say, Steve, you've got a novella coming out. Anything else?
Yeah, I'm waiting for book three in a Shadow Tear series to come back from the editor. Um, Not to give away any big, big things, but Lance and Ellie head to Cuba to intercept some El Chapo plans. So I decided to go in the middle of the winter. I decided to go somewhere warm in the next book. But
You're going to do on-site research, right? Yeah.
no, I still have a clearance. So no, not exactly. I wish I could. I love the Caribbean, but yeah, no, not there. Um, yeah, and then I'm working on a different series, which you know about. And thanks to you and some other people, I've gotten some really good feedback on how to improve that. And we'll see, if my boss, we'll see. I'm going to be pitching that at Thriller Fest. So we'll see what happens with that. So
Awesome. Well, as a card-carrying member of the Wolf Pack and part of Steve's squad, I will be rooting you on. Mike, what's next?
What I'm gonna do, I think, is I'm gonna take the previous 6 books and break them in half, so 3 and 3, and I'm gonna kind of rewrite those books.
That's a substantial undertaking.
Well,
What makes you do that?
it kind of will be, because I mean, my style in the first books, I think I said I was an engineer, right? Systems engineer. And, I need to see pictures to be able to describe things. And, an engineer needs pictures. And if you read through these books, I mean, there's one, for example. There's a bunch of that stuff that takes the place of words. It's very easy. It's efficient. I put a picture and I go, okay, there's the whatever diagram. So I probably have to rewrite a lot of the book to get away from pictures. So it's all text, which then leads to an audiobook a lot better.
Now that's fair, but I mean, I got to do a little inter-service joke here, but I mean, if you have pictures, then like the Marines and the grunts are going to be able to understand your book. So you might want to keep that. Maybe even pop-ups.
That's why they can read the OG ones. I will keep the OG ones where they are, and they can look at the pictures and drool, which is fine. But so there's just with that, there's kind of an extensive rewrite, and then I have to merge the timelines so that it all flows in one volume. When I started writing this crap, I really kind of had that in mind in the first place. And I wrote a modular book for a specific, I'm gonna mess up Turkey. I'm gonna mess up Iran. I'm gonna mess up China. And so I modularized it that way. But now I have to kind of make those so they do conform to a longer timeline on my spreadsheet. But not perfectly integrated. So I have to do that integration. So I think you're right. It's going to be a lot more of a pain in the ass than I think it is.
May the force be with you, sir. Gentlemen, this has been a blast, and I'm going to kind of open it up just to any final thoughts from either of you before we go ahead and close this out.
Yeah, I'll go first. I failed to mention that I've got David Temple is doing an audiobook of Shadow Sanction, my second book. I don't know how I forgot that with everything going on, but yeah, hello. And I look forward to Mike's continued writing, because I've always thought of his series as sort of serial elements, right? That could be put back into a bigger volume or a larger book. And like I said before, I love the Warlock. I like the idea, that even somebody like Lance and Shadowtear can get this. Lance would be like, oh, I have to go away for a while. I got this tasking, you know who, can't say no, gotta go, and it just makes for a fun time. And thanks for being on, Mike. I appreciate you. I love your books, your characters. Hope we could do some more collaboration in the future.
I hope that as well. Mike, Any final thoughts?
I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. I can see it. I can see it. I'm prescient. I can see it in the future. It's possible. Yeah. I don't know. To close out, this warlock character these things are kind of fun. These books are kind of fun. It's certainly fiction. You just think if we actually had someone with the right kind of character and integrity to do this, that we, the American people, could kind of trust, it'd be really an interesting world. An intelligence apparatus outside of the CIA. But I'll tell you, I am thinking, and I have said in other formats, I guess, this Warlock series as written right now is finite. So this will not go on forever. If you get all the way through the series and you see what is going to be done at the very, very end, if that doesn't fix things, I don't know what to do. I'm telling you, I don't know what to do. So that has to end. I mean, the Warlock it's got to end. So if I want to continue to write, I have to branch off into something else. So that's in my mind, and I will churn that over more as I drive back east when I leave Whistler.
In between skiing. Well, I think we just leave on that thought that, Mike has solved the world's problems in his books. And so we just need to make it through all the series and get all the answers. And then everything will be fine. It'll be completely up to us fiction writers to come up with other problems to solve by the rest of our characters. All right. Steve Stratton, Colonel Mike Bennett, sorry. It has been an absolute pleasure, gentlemen, and I wish you nothing but continued success. It's a blast reading your work.
Thank you, Alma.
Thank you. Appreciate it.